Hey everyone, Gary Bunkowski back. Today for Memorial Day, I did the Four Peak Wilderness Area ride from Klein Cabin Road over on 87 all the way up to Four Peaks and then down the other side on the east to end out at Roosevelt Lake. It was a great ride. So if you're coming from the east side, if you come from the city, you just need to get on the 87 over here, probably off of the 202 is probably the easiest way. And then just take the 87 all the way up through, as you can see, up through Fountain Hills, and it skirts around. You're going to take it all the way up northeast, about 30 miles or so, and you're going to be looking for Klein Cabin Road. Then once you get to Klein Cabin Road, you're going to take that right turn right off of 87, and then that's going to get you all the way into the Four Peaks Wilderness Area. You take the trail, and it twists all the way around. It's probably, I want to say it's probably 30 miles or so. There's a staging area right there. But if you're on a heavier adventure bike, you'll just want to take the trail because it is a blast and the views are spectacular. The trail itself is actually really good. You can see it just increases in elevation. The grades do get pretty steep. Of course, you're going up a mountain. I think it's 7,000 feet up to the top of Browns Peak right here. You don't go to Browns Peak, but you do get up to one of the four peaks. I forget the name of it. But then you can see it twists around and then it ejects you back out the other side. So here is the trail, and then it rides this ridge right there, right down through Middle Water Spring, Waterhole Tank, Middle Water Spring, and it just rides a beautiful ridge. So you know the ridges provide the spectacular views. So coming down was really fun because it actually turns into switchbacks. And as you get into the switchbacks, it reminds you a little bit of the Grand Canyon. There's a couple where you're actually staring down at, there was a couple of ATVs that were in front of me and actually saw them underneath me at one point. And then finally you get down, there are mile markers and there's a place to pull off. You'll end out on the tip, the northern tip of Roosevelt Lake. So let's take a look. Here's the entrance. As soon as you turn off of 87 on the Klein Cabin Road, there's no hardball. It was all dirt. Pretty standard entrance. You know, it was really wide and there was some traffic today. As you progress further along the road though, and it actually breaks down into some single wide in a couple of areas, you see less and less traffic. This is the staging area over here on the right side. The staging area is really busy. It was probably 80 to 85% ATVs and 10 to 15% motorcycle. Very few dirt bikes, mostly ATVs and quads. I was lucky today. It wasn't that hot. Beautiful day, of course, another Arizona early summer day. We hit 90, I believe, and I think that was the hottest it got today. For the most part, we stayed in the early morning, we stayed in the upper 60s to low 70s. This is the desert foothills right here, so it's the lower end as you enter the park. And then the grades gradually increase throughout, and you actually go through a couple of different habitats. It was really, really interesting to see. Just a really nice wilderness to enjoy. So it was established in 1984. The park contains approximately 60,740 acres with a major mountain rising up in its center from the desert foothills. And as you can see, the grades are already starting to increase. The four peaks themselves are visible for many miles and are one of the most widely recognized landmarks in central Arizona. The rapid change in elevation produces interesting and unique plant and animal communities. So the elevations range from 1,900 feet near Apache Lake, which is where I started, to right here where I'm getting up to around 2,000, 2,500. And then midway at 3,500 to a total culmination at the summit at 7,600 feet. That's Browns Peak. I didn't go to Browns Peak. I hit the Four Peaks, the actual Four Peak summit, which is probably around 7,000 feet. And then right here I had the clip on the back of my bike and the camera fell off right there. Bam. So that happened. So note to self, probably don't do the rearward view over bumpy terrain. And then right about at this point, a little more than halfway up, you can start to see the terrain really start to change. No more saguaro cactus, no more cactus really of any kind, no yucca plants. And you start to see these shrubs that are alive, actually. So you start to see some green. And then another thing was the temperature dropped at least 5 to 10 degrees. The winds picked up. Like I said, you did see some traffic up there. I was surprised at some of the guys that took what they were pulling up there, but most of them were Jeeps, some SUVs, of course, all 4x4. But the biggest thing to note was the distinct temperature drop, and then really cool to see the new habitat. Ponderosa, pine, Douglas fir, those are a few that grow in the highlands, and then a few aspens stand on the north side of Browns Peak. So this is actually a little bit north of Browns Peak. The intermediate elevations produced impenetrable thickets of manzanita, gambo oak, and pinyon pine. And as you saw, below 4,000 feet, the grasslands, they kind of blend into the upper Sonoran Desert there. And you saw where the saguaro cacti were just everywhere. And like I said, there was some traffic up there, so it was kind of fun to interact with some of the other bikes, and then some of the other ATVs, and then the quads that were out. So pretty decent traffic. Everybody was really, really pleasant, pretty courteous. I got out of the way, if those guys can move out a lot faster. So it's always a courteous thing to just move aside. There was some passes, especially when you get into the switchbacks, where you've really got to approach each turn with caution because there were some drop-offs. One of the things that was a big surprise to me was that this area has one of the densest black bear populations in Arizona. So other mammals include the ringtail cats, skunks, coyotes, deer, javelinas, mountain lions. So you got to keep your eyes open for, in the lower elevations, of rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widows, centipedes, millipedes. So I'm going to come back and do hiking. And if you climb the mountain, be prepared for temperatures noticeably cooler than down below, like I mentioned. Lightning storms occur regularly during the monsoon season, which of course here is July, August, and into September. Flash floods are common. Snow does accumulate on these peaks in the winter, so I'm definitely coming back in the winter. A 40-mile trail network offers ample hiking opportunities, so I'm going to probably be back probably at the end of summer. Some trails, such as Brown's Trail, which is 2 miles, and Pigeon Trail, which is 3 miles, are in excellent shape, while others are in poor condition. So among the Cane Spring Trail, which is 2.3 miles, and the Oak Flat Trail, 1.8. Most of the trails do not get a lot of traffic, so they're not as maintained, not as noticeable. Brown's Trail and the Four Peaks Trail are both 10-milers that traverse the northern and eastern flanks of Four Peaks. Springs and streams are seasonal, and water is often impossible to find. Group size is limited to 15 people, so you can see right there, that group that we passed right there at that repeater station was probably pretty close to 15. So this is on the other side, heading back down. So now I've actually passed the top, the Four Peak summit, and now I'm headed back down towards Roosevelt Lake. So this is on the east side. I went really slow, as you can see. I was a little white knuckling, especially because some of the drop-offs were severe. There were a couple of drop-offs that I was surprised there was no barricades, there was no warning signs or anything, but ride at your own risk. Pretty soon here you can start to see the outline of Roosevelt Lake. As always, these beautiful blue lakes contrast well against the desert. You can just see the tip of Roosevelt Lake right there. And then going back down the other side on the east, everything is in reverse. So you're going from green back down to brown as you enter back into the highlands and then eventually the desert. So pretty cool to see it all. Of the 4 peaks, the only one that's actually named, I forgot to mention, is Browns Peak. The other 3 peaks are unnamed. Browns Peak is the tallest of the 4 at 7,600 feet. It's the highest point in Maricopa County. There are plenty of places to pull off the side of the road. This was another cool place to stop, and then just the really probably the first place to pull over where you got a really good view of the entire Roosevelt Lake, and then kind of looking back up at the trail was just so beautiful I had to stop. And then you can see how the trail actually starts to switch back and forth as it rides along the ridge. Then there was this strange loop. You get down 2 more elevations, and then there's this loop that goes around, and I'm not sure what it was there for. It might be like a turnaround point. And then this is it. This is the end of Klein Cabin Road. And then you take this right turn, get on 188 headed south, and then 1.5 to 2 miles down on the left side is Roosevelt Lake. And it's one recreation area after the next. It was packed today because it was Memorial Day. There was a lot of traffic, but overall the drivers were pretty courteous. It wasn't too bad. It was a lot less hectic than, say, Saguaro Lake, because this area, it's pretty segregated from, it's at the extreme eastern side or edge of Maricopa County, so you're going to get people that are committed to camping. They're going to be out here for a few days. Saguaro Lake is going to get the people out there camping for 3 days, for 2 days, and even the day trippers. Canyon Lake as well. So that's why Roosevelt Lake, a little less traffic. In my opinion, it's a little bit nicer. It's a lot larger lake. Then I found this nice place to pull over here and park and have my lunch. I do pack lunches to save money, and I don't know what I'm going to encounter out in the desert, so I try to pack food and water and drinks with me when I go. Luckily I have those panniers. Hope you guys liked this video. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.